Yeah, I'm just still shocked that she said that on wax. Like, she wasn't under duress, and she still just came out and said like the quiet part out loud. I don't believe in paying athletes. It's like, how could this read as anything other than exploitative? Because they're making billions. Like, it's $1 billion industry for years. The Olympics, the IOC, and it's almost like they think they're the main character and they're the reason for it. But no, don't get it twisted. You may be the ones shaking the hands, but the athletes are the ones that provide you the leverage, right? Take away the athletes and all the great moments on the track and all the other events, and what leverage do you have to close those deals?
Even if in track there's no like comparable like league or consistent payment structure, whatever you want to call it, but like there's still payment that occurs, whether it is on, you know, the Diamond League, Continental Tour, et cetera, but then also the World Championships does pay the athletes, well, at least like the finalists. But I think the Olympics should also be held to that same standard of like, no, you actually should be paying us. And if you don't, then I feel like that's when the athletes, well, I feel like everyone in track, but like should be like, okay, we're going to put our effort, our energy into something else. Now,
remember, the WNBA was not trying to make friends with FIBA. They were trying to make a viable business. And they convinced all the players, we're the primary. Right. You come here. You play here. When we're done, you can go over there if you want. But when we say come back, you better be here. If Athlos did that with its athletes and said, Sha'Carri now runs in Athlos. You want to watch her? You watch her here.
Yeah.
When our calendar is done, you could call her if she want to come. But I'm going to tell you one thing. If we decide that she needs to be here, she here. It's kind of like when you sign a Marvel deal. I heard that the movie actors for Marvel, that when you sign with Disney Marvel, for the time they were doing their thing through like, you know, phase 1, phase 2, they had precedence over all movie projects, all film projects you had. Yeah. If they call you and say we need to do reshoots, whatever you thought you were doing, drop that thing. Get on the plane, you come in here.
Yeah.
Like it has to be like that. You have to discuss the Olympics and what the president of the IOC said in her conversation. I know, you know, Aaron, you gave some discussion on CBC, but this is a different space where she says, and correct me if I'm missing it, because we all heard the clip. The clip was asked about whether did she believe in paying Olympic athletes, and she said, no, I don't believe in paying the athletes. And she talked about her background as an athlete. I believe she was a swimmer.
Swimmer
I
from
believe she was
Zimbabwe.
a swimmer from, from a nation that doesn't have a lot of money in its federation. And she's like, hey, even in this role, I still don't necessarily believe that paying the athletes makes sense or that that's what we should do. So, I mean, before we go any further, because I did a deep dive on a personal level, but I got to take the temperature of the room on where y'all land with that statement. And Aaron, I got to kick it to you because you run on that stage and competed and won on that stage. Mm-hmm. So, you know, shout out to you. Hey, if you didn't notice, I'm wearing red and black.
That was intentional?
Oh, yeah. I thought about it.
Okay. Yeah. So as far as the comments go, I mean, like you said, I gave a bit of my opinion on CBC, but this is a different space, so I could be a little more candid, I feel like, and not have to worry about getting the network in trouble. I'm just still shocked that she said that on wax. Like, she wasn't under duress, and she still just came out and said like the quiet part out loud. I don't believe in paying athletes. It's like, how could this read as anything other than exploitative? Because they're making billions. Like, it's $1 billion industry for years. The Olympics, the IOC, and it's almost like they think they're the main character and they're the reason for it. Because they're like, she said something like, almost, I'm paraphrasing here, but like alluding to the fact that we should be grateful that we have beautiful venues and we get a beautiful experience and stuff, as if like that should be enough and we shouldn't have any right to ask for more. And not only are we not allowed to earn, and they don't believe in paying us, we're not allowed to like monetize our own image, right? Like, have all these blackout dates. We can't repost our races and stuff on YouTube and whatever and monetize that way because it's all copyright infringement and gate kept by the Olympics. And it's like they're trying to squeeze every dollar, every which way out of the athletes. And they think because they're the ones shaking the hands behind closed doors with the sponsors and bringing in the money, that they're the reason for it. But no, don't get it twisted. You may be the ones shaking the hands, but the athletes are the ones that provide you the leverage, right? Take away the athletes and all the great moments on the track and all the other events, and what leverage do you have to close those deals, right? And so I feel like the comparison I give is like the IOC executives, the ones that they're putting this stuff in place. I compare them to like referees in sports, where nobody in the arena shows up to watch a referee ref a great game. Are they essential to the infrastructure of the event? Yes, we need referees. We need them to call great games, but nobody's paying their money to come see the referees. They're just a byproduct and something that's necessary in order to make it all come together. And yes, there's multiple pieces that have to come together in order to make a great event like the Olympics year in year and out. But let's not get it twisted on who is the main product that people are paying that makes this whole thing go. And I just don't know how we're in 2026 still talking about this, because we used to have the same conversation about the NCAA, and finally they allowed the athletes to be paid at least over the table, because football players would get paid under the table, whatever, Reggie Bush scandals and blah 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 blah. But for decades, they're the ones, they're the main attraction. They're the ones that are bringing in the money that this whole thing is built on. And then finally they caved, and now we have NLI or NIL.
Yeah.
But that's just has not seemed to make its way over to the Olympics yet, and it kind of seems like the last domino that has to fall. And when we hear rhetoric like that being spewed on in 4K on wax, it just shows you the people who are in charge of the sport, how they're thinking, and they're thinking they're the ones that are running this, and we should be happy with and grateful for what little we get, the beautiful experiences and the beautiful venues. So it's just I don't know. It boils my blood, and I've been fighting for athletes' rights for so long. Like I feel like my whole career, I've never been scared to speak on it. And this just confirms what we all knew, is that they think they're the main characters, and we should just be grateful. Which is it's just asinine.
I mean, I'm gonna let Anderson go before I say anything.
No, no. I mean, I agree. I think it's both sides were. I wasn't surprised at her comments. Well, I guess I just wasn't surprised because like that has been the status of the Olympics since its inception, or at least the modern Olympics in 1896 or whatever, right? Like just amateurism, not paying athletes. So I wasn't surprised at her comments, but just the way that she was so brazen, like like saying that athletes should be happy with venues is so disrespectful. Like what is like what?
I
Like that
mean,
it that is crazy.
we can unpack that too. Let's put a pin in that and come back to it.
Yeah, it's crazy. But like I guess I do understand because I I also I mean, I guess just outside of like being shocked that she said it, on wax, on video, it's clear that in the background, the Olympics, they are just in such a comfortable position because it's almost like they have a stranglehold on, you know, not in any disparaging way, but like athletes, fans, attention, because it's the Olympics. They have been resting on their prestige for literally, century, almost over a century now. And they're able to just capture that and hold on to that because they know that anyone and everyone will do whatever it takes to be at the Olympics, even if they know they're not going to get paid, even if they know they have these restrictions. Every 4 years we hear about these, you know, heartfelt stories of athletes sacrificing everything to get to the Olympics, and it just always, always happens. So these executives, they are literally just exploiting that. They're taking advantage of people's dreams to get to the Olympics, even though they won't get paid. And once they lose that at any point, that's when things kind of come crashing down. So when you have I mean, this is like whatever in terms of the future, but like when you have other entities coming into play and they're like, okay, actually, we're not going to send our athletes there. Our athletes are going to go somewhere else because they're going to get paid. That's when the Olympics will start to, some cracks will start to form because that's direct competition to the games. What if we saw, the World Cup happening at the same time as the Olympics? Athletes will probably go to the World Cup instead of playing soccer in the Olympics because it's like I'm going to get paid at the World Cup and that's more prestigious. So, I understand their thinking, but it's also just like it's so disrespectful just how brazen she was.
Well, okay, I took notes because I know I'm alone on this side, but I know I'm not alone on this side. In general, I'm alone on this camera. So for the people in the back, I'm going to address some of the things y'all said, and then we can have it out from there. So let's go. The first one, Anderson, you brought up the World Cup, so let's just start there. You do realize that at the Olympics, like this most recent one for men's soccer, they actually did like an under 23 men's soccer. They actually didn't use the guys who play in the World Cup on purpose because they don't care about it because they're going to the World Cup. So the Olympics product is not about that, just to use that as an example. Step one. The reason why women's soccer has, for a long time, been a present thing for about 2 decades or so, and you had Team USA women saying we deserve more because they were stomping on the rest of the world. But to be clear, which nation had Title IX? Which nation has led the charge in funding women's sports and giving women opportunities? I'm even going to point out now that soccer, compared to track and field, basketball, I'm talking about women, volleyball even, still has a whole lot more, if it makes sense, differential in opportunities per athlete. In other words, there's just nowhere near as many women playing soccer as there are the other sports I just mentioned. So as a result, and that's what America dominating. So what I'm saying is they were stomping on a field that, I'm saying the quiet parts out loud, had fewer nations that participate. There were fewer games to qualify for the Women's World Cup or the Women's Olympics. Fewer nations that have funding to actually get into it. It didn't drive as much money at the World Cup level, not even close, but they were winning. So because they were winning, they were all the way at the top of the cap table or whatever revenue existed, when with a significantly deficient pool. Team USA men, who are now playing in this World Cup in America, they are nowhere near the top of a pool that is wildly more expansive in terms of what money is actually available in that sport for what the men have built up. They're just not actually good yet and or have never really been world beaters. But like that's why World Cup soccer for women and Olympic soccer, it's almost like the wind didn't have a place to go. Now we have NWSL pro leagues. Now we have the USL Women's Soccer League as well, which has Peacock streaming deals, interestingly enough. So that's 2 leagues that are paying actual money and have had, I mean, Trinity Rodman is getting, like, I think she gets upwards of $1 million to play soccer. I could be wrong. Somebody could fact check me on that. Dennis Rodman's daughter, but like she's killing it, as far as like well-known top women's soccer athletes. So just using them as an example, the men and the women, just to clarify, because it all lands at, well, what is the Olympics and what is it not? Because then you also brought up, okay, so, and I think with Aaron, you said like, okay, like they think they're the main characters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, that's what we would call an appeal to motive fallacy in the context of like an argument, because you're ascribing what we know their motives to be. So is it possible that she actually believed what she said and that there's an actual argument behind it? Is it possible?
That athletes, she doesn't believe in paying
No,
the
we know she
athletes?
doesn't believe it, but is it possible she has a real argument that's not we're the main characters?
Oh, yeah.
So like that argument to me makes sense, because the thing is, okay, you brought up NIL money.
Mhm.
Where did NIL money come from?
It comes from the sponsors.
So NIL money in college, it's not even really coming from sponsors. It's, okay, college athletic departments
Mhm.
are nonprofit entities technically. NIL money is money that comes from donors who can clear it as a tax write-off because they're donating to a nonprofit.
Okay.
So once NIL became a thing,
Mhm.
I just need to find rich people who are willing to cut checks that they can clear off of their business balance sheets, who want my program to thrive, and then I can pay whatever I can get towards any athlete, because the NCAA essentially just decided to move aside and just let you spend whatever you want to spend. It's the reason why Ohio State is now reporting a budget loss.
Okay.
They're reporting a budget loss for the athletic department
Because
based on
there's
how
so much
much money they're putting out.
Okay.
And the reason they're like by 10 to 15 million, because they're spending money that doesn't come back. They're just spending it to get football players, but they're not actually making that money. You
Right.
see the problem? So the Olympics is not trying to be in a point where they're at the red. So when you bring up all the billions of dollars of revenue, the question is, where does the money go? And yeah, we could argue about how much salary she gets and so on. But when we say pay the athletes, this is my dead to rights question. Which athletes should be paid? Like specifically which ones?
I mean, well, now we're getting into nuance, right? Because she just flat out said she doesn't believe in paying athletes at all.
Yeah, but I'm
So
asking which ones.
we're not even entertaining the prospect of paying anybody. If I were in charge, I would have a flat rate just for qualifying, and you can call it something minuscule,
An
right?
Olympic
10K.
participation amount.
Yeah, yeah, 10K. And then from there, I would do like a see, this is where it gets complicated, but I would find a way to kind of tier it, right? So
Okay.
maybe if you make the finals, that's another tier. If you get on the podium, like right now, they have in 2024 they paid the gold medalists, and
World
I
Athletics did, not
World Athletic,
IOC.
yeah, World
Yeah.
Athletics did. So if they did something similar to what World Athletics is doing, that could work, where you just pay for the medals.
Okay.
Um, I mean, yeah, I don't know. There's ways that are above my pay grade to do it,
Yeah.
but it's just the fact that she wouldn't even entertain the
Yeah.
conversation,
But I mean, the reason why he's not entertaining it because she knows where it ends,
and which is
and
where
it's going to end with destroying the Olympics. That's what's going to happen. That's where the movie ends. Now,
why?
I can walk you all the way through the steps that take us there, but that's why I'm
Okay,
starting with this first question because instead of me telling you, I want to show you by like walking it through.
okay.
Which athletes are we going to pay? Are you asking? You talked about qualifying and making the finals. It sounds
Mhm.
like you're giving the statement from a track and field only perspective. Are those the only athletes who are getting paid?
No,
So you
it'd
want
be.
all the Olympians to get paid?
I
Like
would say if
every single sport, all the Olympians, all 10,500 in the outdoor Summer Olympic Games to get paid, plus all 2,500 or so, it's much smaller, Winter Olympics athletes who just show up under any designation to get paid. Because that makes sense. I think they could go for paying everybody something.
yeah,
And there's more to this conversation,
uh-huh,
and because we could figure that out. But
mm,
are you just trying to get track athletes paid? Because you can already see that the skeet
no,
shooters and the riflers and the
yeah,
canoe slalom folk, they've got a better argument than you because you actually have Nike behind you. And
yeah,
I'm pretty sure the riflers don't have anywhere near as much help.
no, no, and I'm thinking about this in real time, but I would not separate it from just track from everyone
Okay.
else.
So
I think
everybody gets paid.
yeah, I think if World Athletics wants to step up and pay like they have for the gold medals and now the medals period in LA, I think that's their prerogative. But I think the Olympics should have some type of small amount that everybody receives just
Yeah.
for qualifying.
And you said 10,000 is what you consider a small amount?
Well, that was when I was just only thinking about track, but if I'm thinking about the entire sport, I
You mean
can't
like
remember the
all
numbers off the top of
sports?
my head. Yeah, yeah, like all Olympic sports.
Okay.
I would have to see the budget and then figure
I'll
out
give
what
you a
would make
dollar amount.
sense.
I'll give you a
Okay,
number. The
okay,
number, it comes to now we can run the math, but the math of it is essentially if you don't want to collapse the Olympics,
yeah,
meaning like for how much money is already pre-allocated,
mhm,
and we can argue about which goes where and so on. It's not all transparent.
mhm,
But from my deep dive, once you realize there's 10,500 or so athletes plus the Winter Olympics, and we got to put them on the same thing because the IOC runs all of it. There's
right,
almost 1,300 or so athletes.
mhm.
If
1,300 or
you,
13,000?
it's about 13,000 then between
Oh, okay,
in winter and summer, but it's mostly summer.
yes,
So if you get $20,000 is almost like the red line.
mhm,
If I give more than $20,000 per athlete, at that point, the Olympics would just not exist anymore. Not
mhm,
because they couldn't survive that hit once, but
mhm,
because the financial model would crumble. The reason why the 2021 Olympics could happen after moving things from 2020 is because they have financial reserves, and you can't run a business where you're dipping into that. You need to actually stay at a point where you're like, your head is above water.
mhm,
So as a result, if you go past that line, because remember, there's still money going out to federations and so on.
mhm,
So, like, for example, JAAA, they ain't trying to hear that their money getting cut because the athlete wants more money. You see
right,
what I'm saying? So before we even figure out who gets what, whatever the pot of money is, I would say is, and 20,000 is at the high end. I'd say 15,000 is more justifiable. 10,000, we could do that. But that's participation pay you'd hand to every athlete for becoming an Olympian, whether you are the 11.7 runner from some random small country who's just in the 100-meter heats or whatever,
right,
a canoe slalomer, break dancers if we're doing it, all of them would get this.
yes. Well, that's why I
So
said it shouldn't be something outrageous, like, to me,
that would
10,000 isn't life-changing, but at least it's something.
But that would be so you'd be okay if we just did participation pay for everybody, 10,000, 15K, we're done. Because I'm saying after that, there's no money left for the medals you just mentioned. Like we're done. Like we're
Okay,
at
then
the edge of the cap. Like there's no more money. The only way I'm
no.
getting you medal money is I'd have to cut that participation fee down substantially in order
Yeah.
to make room to start paying medals.
Okay, well then, me personally, I would do the latter. I would forego paying everybody for doing something that rewards people who
Win
advance.
medals.
Yes. Or not even just win medals, just maybe even make semifinal, make it like
But every sport isn't set up the same. Track had
you're
8
right,
people going to
yeah.
the finals.
Well,
Basketball
then
has 15, 12, how many people on a roster. So you might not get in the game, but you're on the team.
okay,
You
then
have
maybe we have to start with medals. Just we have to start with medals. Just like how World Athletics started with only gold and then they went to the whole podium. I think we might have to do something similar where you start with gold and then try and progress down as you
okay.
try to build the model.
Every
If you can.
every medal. So here's the next question: is every medal worth the same? I mean, Anderson chime in, but is a shot put medal and a 100-meter medal worth the same thing?
In
Yes.
terms of
Is
the
a canoe
Olympics,
slalom
yes.
medal and a okay? So all the medals are
Yes.
worth the same.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So the
In
12th man on the gold medal basketball team gets the same amount as Noah Lyles if he wins the 100.
Yes.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's the Olympics. And like you win a gold medal, like everyone who wins a gold medal is going to be called a gold medalist afterwards and for the rest of their life. Like you should get paid the same across the board. Um, I don't think it should be discriminated against every sport. I'm like in favor of like I feel like IOC has enough, like way more than enough money to not only pay all the athletes, but also create like a tiered system. And if they actually did that, I feel like it would generate more interest around the Olympics and then generate more sponsorship and more money flowing into it, more than they already do. I actually believe that they can make it would be more challenging because now they're making a truly competitive product to other, other
Mhm.
things that happen in other years or around there. But I feel like they have the money to make it where it's like, okay, yeah, start paying the medalists and make it across the board in every single sport. And then tier yourself, down as you go to finalists, as you go to semis, or in other events where it's like basketball, okay, for every athlete on the different teams. Like, I feel like they can.
I'm not here to attack what you're saying. It's just that you said, I feel like they can. And I'm asking what actual data point, because I gave actual numbers that someone can
So,
shoot back against. So give me a number that shoots back on why my $20,000 pot, which comes to somewhere between 150, $200 million or whatever, as like the pot of available cash we could give to the athletes before we collapse the system. Like, do you have a dollar amount that's not that you can point to that makes sense? Because I'm not saying my number is perfect. It's just what I was able to come up with.
so if I just did the math very quick. The IOC reportedly makes $7.6 billion um, every single 4 years.
Revenue.
Revenue every single 4 years, right? So obviously that's just revenue, right? You have to account for all kinds of different things. I mean, there's also exceptions where like the cities that are hosting the Olympics, they have to pay a lot of money. So the IOC is not on the hook for certain aspects there, right? Like there's a bunch of things there, but let's just take at face value 7.6 billion. Quick division by the 10,500 and you get like 700 something thousand. If you for each athlete, and this is just summer Olympics, right? $700,000. Obviously, we're not going to pay the athletes that much money. If we just reduce down to 10K for each athlete, just at the participation level, then you can start to tier up to the actual medalists and pay them, significantly more.
Yeah,
And
and
then
you're getting
even
this off of the 7 billion?
7 billion, right? And you divide by, I just did a quick division of 10,000.
Yeah, but that's not how it works though, because you need to get first you have to figure out how much money is allocated and so many other expenses, and then you can
Well,
only
no,
take
that's
from what's
that's
left. So
well, that's
like,
that's why I said like obviously there's a ton of things, right? You have to pay for venues, you have to pay for like housing, like obviously there's all these different expenses. But I'm just setting a baseline of the idea that like there is actually enough money in some capacity to pay the athletes, even if you just want to pay the athletes $3,000, right? Like if you want to go super super low, and then maybe eventually you're able to build up.
Yeah.
But that's why I say I just feel the IOC has enough money. Like they truly do have enough money. And as it stands right now, I mean, I don't even know how much the IOC president is making. She shouldn't be making as much as she is compared to a gold medalist, like multiple gold medalists. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they have enough money. Now, yes, paying every single athlete maybe seems super, super far out, but again, start it as some sort of tiered system where you're paying the medalists and then you continue to drop down. It does make it more competitive now because now some other entity can come in and say, okay, we're actually going to pay these athletes even more money to compete directly with the Olympics. But that's where the Olympics is now going to have to, just like any other business, they're going to have to be competitive, and they can't rest on the idea that we are the Olympics, right? Like you hear athletes talking about, I'm, I'm resetting my entire life and moving across the world just to train so that I can qualify for the Olympics in 4 years. Like they have a stranglehold on how athletes, how fans, how people think about the games. So that's what they're relying on. They don't have to do anything different. Like they literally don't have to do anything different. And I feel like they actually can. So
I mean,
yeah, I
again,
don't know.
I came to the conclusion with all the payouts and all the things that go to support the Olympics, and if your goal is to not change the game at all, leave it in its current state and then just pay people, you're starting negotiations around that $150 to $200 million pot. Because once you go past that, the games have to start shifting its character, and you start messing with national federation payments. Because now you got to start robbing people to pay Paul. They're not just sitting on all this cash though. Like it's going on to, like, we see the big numbers, but it goes in a bunch of different places.
So the IOC pays the federations?
As far as I understand, yeah. Like there's like, for example, if you're a super small nation, like
Yeah.
okay, let's talk about let's talk about her facilities comments. I'm gonna say it in a way that actually makes sense because we saying this as Americans. Now you got to say it like somebody who's coming from a different nation. South
Mhm.
Sudan played Olympic basketball,
Mhm.
but they're a nation that has no indoor basketball courts in the entire country.
Mhm.
None. Their entire team plays in international spaces. That's the only time they actually play in real gyms.
Mhm.
Almost all their players were in the American system at some point,
Right.
either did prep school or just came straight over for college. Normally they're in these academies where they get plucked out. Oh, we're going to send him to go get a chance to go and mature. Some of those guys tried out for the NBA, did summer league, whatever, ended up over. Then they're playing in random, like overseas leagues. I say random, but like leagues that we wouldn't recognize. But like
Mhm.
they're playing, that's where, so they're 27 years old. I was in the summer league. I played against you in college. Now I'm playing for South Sudan's national team. But for
Mhm.
the record, I grew up in the mud
Yeah.
where we have no basketball courts. So to him, playing in the Olympic basketball gym,
Yeah.
that is nice when we had no indoor basketball courts in the entire nation. So I think like even as an like this whole conversation is driven by the state of track and field. Remember the canoe slalom folk, they know ain't nobody watching them. The
Mhm.
riflers know this. Even the breakdancers figured it out. Like trampoline.
Yeah.
Like remember, boxing is a great example where you have Olympic boxing, and then when you become a pro, you're no longer going to Olympic boxing. That's done. You do that as a precursor on the way to. I'm fine watching the Olympics without the pros. With all these college kids, the way they running, I'm cool. We don't need y'all for the Olympics. It's just historic. Y'all just don't have anything else to go to. So when you talk about sponsors and NIL, the question is, well, let's talk about what the WNBA players did when they did their most recent negotiations. Anderson talked about like if you were paying them and how that would help sponsors. You want to know what argument the WNBA players tried to stand on? Their argument was our salaries are so low in comparison to other athletes, it influences how sponsors see us, and therefore they devalue us based on our salaries.
Yeah.
So if the moment we give you a dollar amount, it's not going to make y'all happy. That's the argument. It's actually going to start shifting. Oh, you're only worth that.
But that's the starting point. So the WNBA started at a certain point that it was really low, but then they can negotiate and get their way up. And now
Yeah,
we've seen recently that their new contracts based on that new agreement have started to reach the seven-figure range.
yeah.
And
And
I
the
feel like
W,
if we
Caitlin
start
Clark happened to the
somewhere,
WNBA, and I'm saying all the offensive parts. On the WNBA's, like I don't mean to cut you off, just
yeah,
to be factual. Like on their, I went to the YouTube channel because
mhm,
YouTube is a world that I understand. I looked at the most popular videos, and I did a report. The most popular videos on the WNBA's channel, like most viewed all
mhm,
time. If
mhm,
you go through the last 3 years and you go through the history of the channel that's been around for almost 17, 18 years, what you find that about half of all the top videos that did 250K plus or more
mhm,
were Caitlin Clark videos in the life of the WNBA's YouTube channel.
yeah,
And then what you find in the last 3 years, 88% of those videos were Caitlin Clark videos. 88%. The only ones that weren't were All-Star Game themed. That is it. So Caitlin Clark happened.
yeah,
But they had the infrastructure to absorb her. And then off of that, they catapulted further. The
right,
infrastructure was there to absorb her. That's why Diana Taurasi was playing for 100K.
yeah,
She was Diana Taurasi, but she played for $100K because she understood we're not getting anywhere if all the top players are not committed. They convinced every top American woman, you have to play in our league. You could make more over there because in Moscow or whatever, they might be willing to pay for this super high value American to come. It's not that they're making money bags over there. It's just, hey, you're worth what someone's willing to pay, and someone's willing to pay to put you on their roster X amount of dollars, and you would go, and you would get more cash than you would to be in the WNBA. And you even had WNBA players who started opting out progressively, like, oh, I'm going to take a season off. Diana Taurasi did, actually, where she took a season off from the WNBA because she's like, oh, my salary over here is worth more. I'm not coming this year. But she came back because the WNBA was like, no, we need you. Like, we need you to promote the product. We can't grow the product. So now Aaliyah Boston is making $1 million to play basketball, even though almost nobody knows who she is. She could go to a women's basketball, like a girls' high school basketball tournament right now and not be recognized.
Yeah.
As long as if she's not wearing the gear that say she's supposed to be Aaliyah Boston, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of folk there might be a coach or two like, that's Aaliyah Boston. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But there's so few athletes that have that type of recognition. Like even famous actors, there's people I don't know that are like box office, and this is the superstar guy that leads this box office movie. I'm like, okay, I don't know him from a can of paint. But like in his field, they're respected at that level. And there's very few that like are noticeable like that. Like Denzel Washington, that everyone, Will Smith, that everyone actually knows by face. But my thing is with her comments that athletes, I don't believe in paying the athletes. We can't even get to a level where the infrastructure is put in place in the same way that Caitlin Clark, they were able to take advantage of it. Yeah.
You say okay for track. Okay.
Yeah, for track. Because she's just cutting the conversation off. Like, I don't want to pay at all, regardless. So when we had a Usain Bolt, who I would say is our version of Caitlin Clark, we weren't able to leverage that into having an Aaliyah Boston type person in our sport who's really good, but only known in track, be paid and compensated for the level of talent.
Because you don't have a league, though. That's not their fault. Aaliyah Boston plays in the Olympics if she wants to, and then goes back to the people who pay her.
Right.
Anderson talked about the soccer for the men, and I was like, the men don't play in the Olympics. That's the point.
So
the best men's soccer players don't come to the games. They play somewhere else.
Yeah.
Y'all are the ones who are complicit. And I'm saying this is a uniquely track problem. The canoe slalomers aren't mad about this. The kayakers aren't mad. They figured it out. They know they're not getting sponsors. It's only y'all. Basketball players have a league. Tennis players have a circuit. Even CrossFit got their own thing. They got the World Fitness Project, the Grid League, the CrossFit Games. They got a whole kit now if you're a functional fitness athlete for you to go out there and compete in professional spaces. They got a whole thing.
You're saying that the animosity shouldn't be aimed at the IOC because they are what they are. The devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't.
I don't even think they're the devil. They're just being real. This is what they are.
Just coming out saying we don't want to pay y'all. But we should be like, all right, fine. We'll come and create our own thing.
Yes, that's the point.
Oh, okay. I agree.
Because you can't do it as the track athletes when you come to the Olympics. That's why y'all don't have rights to anything. Because nobody has rights to anything for the Olympics. It's not a track problem. All the Olympic athletes are in the exact same boat. There are three types of group. I remember I did a video a long time ago. People might probably forgot. Maybe they even saw it. 3 types of Olympic sports. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3. Track, unfortunately, got stuck in Group 3. They're in Group 3 with swimmers and gymnastics. They're in that group. Everybody else is in Group 1 or Group 2. Either you're a sport that has actual infrastructure built around it, where people pay attention in your environment, and then when you come to the Olympics, you're just coming to let the rest of the world watch y'all in a little kit, and then you go back to do your thing where you do it. The big thing is where I do my thing. I'm not over here for you to look at me as the best. I'm over here just to wear my national pride. Yeah, basketball, soccer, tennis, all of those sports. Even golf, when it came to the games. Same deal.
Yeah.
Then when you move to Group 2, those are the sports nobody watches, and they know it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like if you do, what's that thing with where they rubbing the ice?
Curling?
Yeah, curling.
They know.
Okay.
They know the spot that Nike's not coming.
Man, I don't know, man. I think it should be. I think the pressure should be put on both sides. Like even if in track there's no like comparable like league or consistent payment structure, whatever you want to call it, and obviously like track is a true almost like participation sport where almost anyone quote unquote can be a pro, right? You could just run a meet, and if you're fast, you can like continue to run a whole bunch of meets. But like there's still payment that occurs, whether it is on the Diamond League, Continental Tour, et cetera, et cetera. But then also the World Championships does pay the athletes. Well, at least like the finalists. I don't know if they pay, below the finalists.
Just the finalists.
Just the finalists, right? So there is some sort of like payment structure that does occur, whether it's enough, whether it's, organized in a way that, athletes and everyone would like, that's a different question. But I think the Olympics should also be held to that same standard of like, no, you actually should be paying us. And if you don't, then I feel like that's when the athletes, I feel like everyone in track, but like should be like, okay, we're going to put our effort, our energy into something else. Now that may never happen, but like I think there should still be pressure on the Olympic Games. Like the same way that to get NIL in the NCAA, like there had to be pressure that went through. It didn't just like pop up, oh, okay, no, we're deciding to pay athletes,
Y'all could just pick a Diamond League meeting. I'm not making this up. It's not going to happen because y'all won't do it. Like y'all won't agree to it. But if all of you just decided this is the meet that matters, the track community would watch. Kashane goes to his Instagram and says, I'm going to run in the Prefontaine and that's my Olympics this year. I'm going to go off at Prefontaine. Noah said, I'm coming to beat Kashane. Y'all come with y'all relay and say, we're asking the Prefontaine to put a relay on for us. We don't care who come. Get whoever. Bring some college kids for all we care. We will tear them up.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Just go.
Wasn't that what Fred did with the enhanced games?
No. The reason why it's not the same thing is Fred was already mired in the court of public opinion. He had already been banned, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
By this point, suspended, then banned, or provisional suspension, then banned. 2, he went over there with nobody. That's the second part. You got to go over there as a group.
Mm.
That's the secret. We don't get y'all to do nothing as a group. LA Grand Prix, we don't know who we about to watch compared to who's over here and who's over there. Well, I'm going to Tokyo. Well, I'm going to here. Everybody out here doing what's best for them. And then y'all tell us the races don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all literally go into the interviews and say, I'm training, I'm preparing. How do you feel? Don't nobody care how you feel about the race. What we want to know is, did you win, did you lose, and what are the stakes? And y'all don't say none of that in the interview. Y'all just tell us how you felt about it. Oh, I felt good. That's because the culture of the sport has gotten to a point. I'm not blaming you because if I were in it, I'd do what I had to do too. It's just the culture of the sport has moved to the point where there's no stakes.
Better questions.
Yeah, but there's no. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me in the comment section, please. I feel like what my channel has been trying to do, I know what I've been attempting to do, is to provide stakes to all the races.
Yeah.
And the
we
problem
need you in the mix zone, though.
Yeah.
We need you in the mix zone.
Yeah. Well, the challenge is that I oftentimes have to invent stakes. I'm just being real. I gotta find an angle, and then here's the next part. I gotta find an angle that the community can respond to. I'm saying the quiet part out loud. Don't nobody care that Jacoby Dart broke a world record. You know how I know? That's what my video was about. I took a whole day and just watched how people responded. And then my video was, guess what? Nobody cared. The sports community did not pay attention. The track community did not rally behind. He should have 1 million views on TRP if the track community cared. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
If they did, they would have. The track community did not rally around it. We're that fractured.
Mm.
So whatever we do, could we make a sprints only track and field competition league? We could if all the sprinters agreed. Could we make we probably need the men and women, because here's the next part. The quiet part out loud is y'all don't run long enough to provide consistent entertainment. At the CrossFit Games, you get to watch your favorite CrossFitter compete in 14 different events across 3 days. Some of these events last 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I get to watch my guy, my girl go at it. They got the men's competition, the women's competition, and the team competition, and they run all 3 in succession, and then they do 14 events for all of those across. Look at how, you see why people would go out there and like, I'm going to the CrossFit Games, like I'm watching and experiencing this event. Y'all literally go to like LA to run for 200 meters to warm up for another meet.
Mm-hmm.
Where Taboho told us in Oslo, I ran the turn today. He said that. We be on this show saying he don't be trying in the races. And he admitted, like, yeah, today I ran the turn. Which means he wasn't running it like that before.
Yeah.
Because there's no stakes. There's no, if you lose this race, then. And then everybody, the fact that y'all think the Worlds and Olympics is the equivalent of a playoff or a championship is the argument that I'm saying. It's not, and it was never intended to be. That's why Adejah Hodge was at the games while she was in high school losing to Lisa Ray. She wasn't running nothing like this, and she was in the repechage rounds. I seen her. British Virgin Islands. Back then. I'm not knocking her. I'm saying y'all just lack your own thing.
Yeah.
And blaming the IOC isn't going to make it better. They're the worst people to blame. World Athletics at least is claiming to be with track.
Yeah.
Like at least they claim track. But the IOC don't claim track. They claim the Olympics.
Yeah, you've made a good point. And I kind of agree with both you guys because yes, a big portion of the problem is the fact that we don't have our own equivalent league that we can fall back on that is on par with what the W has or the NBA or whatever league. But I also feel like we can't completely absolve the IOC in their role in this. Like there needs to be some type of revenue share for the amount that they're making. Like I can't see any reason why you would pay zero and it be okay. Like you talked about the South Sudan basketball players. Like yes, for them it is a come up being able to come to the facilities and yeah, it's better. But like, what percentage of athletes competing in the Olympics have that issue where like they have nothing, and by comparison,
In
just
track
being
and
able
field, in the 100-meter heats, all them 11.7 folk?
no, all the sports, like all the Olympic sports, where they don't have access to quality training facilities, not top notch, but just something that's
I
adequate.
mean, they got
And
riflers who pick up the sport 2 years before they had the games.
they got what?
It's like riflers, you said?
I'm saying
Like, I
I'm
mean,
using that like that was a real story about a guy who's in the Olympics. I'm trying to say y'all are a Group 3 sport because a Group
Yeah.
3 sport by definition is someone who had to dedicate and essentially mortgage their athletic life to get here.
Mhm.
That's what a Group 3 is. Group 2 is not that. The Group 2 folk are the ones who they just kind of it's almost a hobby,
Yeah. But
but
even
they
them,
like
they
have
have
an
access to
Olympic thing to
facilities.
do. Yeah, but I'm saying
They
like I mean
they're
it's not
used to
about
not getting paid,
yeah,
but
it's
they
not
at
about
least have the
facilities as
resources.
much as it is. It's just like the nature of like I'm saying only the Group 3 sports
Yeah.
can share a piece of what you all are expressing.
Mhm.
Only them, and you're only in Group 3 because there had been a lack of innovation and a lack of success to innovate by the generations that came before you. The problem
Yeah.
is every single generation kicks the can down the road and says,
Yeah.
well, it'll come in the future, it'll come in the future, it'll come in the future.
Yeah.
All you have to do, I'm not making this up.
Mhm.
Y'all talking about unionizing, y'all doing too much. Pick a day on the calendar. I don't care which day. Whatever day makes you feel better. And say, all the pros. Like, can y'all just get a like a list of pros who think they're legit?
Mhm.
And could y'all all agree on one day to run somewhere? Make your meet. I don't care what the meet is. Make your own. If you all decide to be there, trust me, the cameras will come.
Well,
They will come if all of y'all want to be in the same place.
I think that in order for that to manifest, you'd have to have the agents and coaches on board because they're ultimately the ones that are gonna yay or nay this thing.
I'm
As much as the
festival. I just
athletes
want
want,
one meet
yeah, but as much as the athletes want to go
in the
rogue and be like,
Athlos.
okay, I'm just gonna pull up here, they have their influence over athlete decisions. But going back to what I was saying, like the NCAA has found a way to compensate or not compensate, but like fund all the sports off the backs of mainly just basketball and football. Those are the main revenue sports, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if
Yeah,
any
but
other one is gone in.
the interesting thing about that though is that the swimming teams, the track teams, the golf teams, they actually academically justify football and basketball because if we had to go off of them, their APRs would be terrible. I'm not even
Mm.
making this up. It's like the NCAA model holds together by bringing in athletes in sports that are like, okay, these kids are coming in, they deserve to be at Duke. Now we can bring, I'm not going to name drop, that basketball player over there who doesn't deserve to be at Duke. And we're going to hold his hand to get him all the way to graduation, quite literally.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally just the way you have success, especially in junior college football, is you just babysit knuckleheads. That's all you do. Find all the knuckleheads, and then you babysit them. And when I say babysit, I mean you literally wake
No,
him up in the
yeah.
morning, you
I've
hold
seen
his hand to go to class, you sit with him and write the essays, you transcribe the essay, he says it, and you type it. It's not
yeah,
plagiarism.
yeah. I know. I've
You
seen it
read the
firsthand.
book to the boy because he can't read.
Yeah.
Like, you actually get a person to sit and read. This is real stuff, not fake. Like, this really happens at actual colleges.
Yeah.
So you need the golfer to justify him.
Yeah.
Because if we were going off of only him, this whole program getting shut down.
Yeah.
We need other folk to make this thing work. So, like, it made sense to me, like, that y'all gonna pay for my fees to go run in a track meet.
There just has to be a way that they can leverage the success of the big sports in the Olympics to compensate all the Olympians at least a small level. And that's why
I'm with participation pay. I'm with that for the record.
Yeah, if we're gonna justify paying the head leaders of the IOC, this is what you get paid for. This is like, why are we paying you if you can't pull it off? Yes, it's a hard feat, but that's why you get paid. That's why you're in the position of power.
Participation pay, I'm fine with, but do you think the track athletes would be happy with a $10,000 check for signing for everybody for coming?
I think so. Here's why.
Okay.
The top people, like the Noah Lyleses, the whoever, the top guys who are already making millions, they're not going to trip that hard off of another $10,000. They're not looking for that to pay their bills anyways. This is going to really significantly help those who are fighting to get a contract. And those are the ones who are really going to feel it. And even though it's a small amount compared to, the rest of their expenses that they have to pay, at least it's a gesture. It's in a step in the right direction, and we can build from there. Where if the popularity of the Olympics continues to grow and social media numbers are off the charts or whatever, at least we have somewhere where we can say, hey, we're making this. Now let's renegotiate and make it 12,000 next time, 15, whatever. But when we start from zero and it's like, we're not even going to have the conversation, you could have a smash hit of an Olympics, everything going viral, people, TV deals, all this and stuff. And there's just no shot that anybody's getting anything. And I think that's
I think people would watch Olympic track, though, if everybody who runs for a professional contract, everybody who exhausted their NCAA eligibility, if all of y'all didn't run, if you were not a declared amateur, I think we would still watch.
Of course they would. It's the Olympics.
Yeah. Like, I'm saying the performances are good enough. Like, I would watch Tate Taylor. I'm just being real.
You don't even need the performances. It's the Olympics. That's why I say the Olympics has a hold on it. If people run slow at the Olympics, it's still the Olympics. I don't think the performances matter. So that's why I think, because you actually are getting the best of the best. I mean, regardless, whoever you're getting, you should still pay them some minimum. And I think, to Aaron's point, it's like the top athletes. It's just like the World Championships pays, like, I think they paid like $70,000 to the gold medalists from last year. Those top athletes, they're probably like, cool, I get $70,000, but then I'm able to do other things through my sponsorships and whatever. Right? The $70,000 is just a quote unquote drop in the bucket. But for all the other athletes, I think any type of pay at the Olympics is super, super important. Just in any other capacity.
Here's my issue with the World Athletics pay. Aaron, please tell me why I'm wrong, because I want to get a rational argument as to why this is not true. I believe that that's there to trick you on to thinking that what you're doing is actually professional. I'm just being honest. I think that's what it's there for. It's to keep you all from rallying behind a Grand Slam track or an Athlos or something else. Yeah. Because as long as World Athletics can make you think that the diamond is serving your purposes, like, as long as they can keep you in that spot, where because you all really think that the world is what you're focused on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Like, as long as y'all really believe that, then I feel like they're just trying to figure out how much do we have to pay you to almost like keep you at bay, if that makes sense. Like, keep y'all complicit. The IOC, I'm not mad at. I don't put them in the same category with World Athletics. I think World Athletics is different, but I think y'all need to even not get mad at them as so much as be like, it's about time that we change this relationship. Mondo and friends, all of y'all, just be like, wait a minute. Because your whole "where the value" argument, that's the argument that you make with World Athletics. But I still think that because they're an international federation, I see them like FIBA for basketball and all these other ones, like, FIFA and whatever. I kind of put them in that category. So do you not see them in that category, I guess?
With what respect?
Because FIFA is not the EuroLeague. Like it's like, like the Champions League. It's not that. Like, FIFA is something else. So, like, for example, like FIBA and the NBA and FIBA and the Spanish leagues and stuff, like, they're not the same thing. And they all work in concert, where, like, FIBA is doing what they're doing, and FIBA adjusts its calendar to make room for the NBA, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
See how, like, they come to the table and say, so when is your championship going to be?
Yes.
We want to make sure that these guys can be a part of, because there's guys for Germany, guys for Slovenia, guys for America. We want all these guys to be in our thing. We will adjust. World athletics needs to be pushed to a point where if y'all are going to go to the world, y'all got to come like that.
Yeah.
Y'all
World
don't go
Athletics
there
has
because
to
you
be the
need
one.
them. You go
Right
there
now,
because
World
you
Athletics
want to
moves
be.
around the IOC when we need it to be the opposite. Right?
Yeah, well, so you think World Athletics is more than FIBA then? Because I'm saying FIBA has to partner with the NBA.
I think World Athletics should be like the Euro League.
Okay, so you think World Athletics has the capacity to because see, what I'm saying is World Championship track and field, indoors and out, let me tell you, that is not a pro product top to bottom.
No.
It's just
But
not.
I'm saying in
I
order
don't, I don't think they're trying to be either on purpose.
Really?
Yes. Why else would we let somebody who's running 7-1 in a 60-meter dash into a World Indoor Championship?
Okay. That's a good point.
That's part of how I can prove to you it's not pro. By making sure I allocated for him to be there.
Yeah.
So I'm like they've already planted their flag. That's what I'm trying to say. Like they don't want to be pro. They just want the best athletes to also come while they're not pro.
Okay.
That
Give you as much as they need to
yeah,
keep
I agree with that. World Athletics is not like it's not pro. I do agree that to some aspect I agree that like okay, whatever prize money they give at the World Champs, it's like okay, we're appeasing the athletes, to keep you coming. Because I look at what happened last year, or I guess in 2024 going into last year, where Grand Slam track is like, okay, we're going to pay these athletes. And World Athletics is like, okay, Ultimate Championships, we're going to raise how much we're paying. Diamond League is like, we're going to raise, how much we're paying. And I look at, I know Diamond League is technically not World Athletics, but I look at it as one and the same in terms of how they operate. But like, I think anytime you have some other league that's going to push more competition, or World Athletics is trying to like quasi, frame itself as it's professional because they're raising the amount of money. But like, I think they are closer to like a FIBA or whatever, like just an overall governing body of the sport, and then
internationally.
Internationally, yeah. And I think that's okay for World Athletics, and then other leagues and different things should be able to pop up around there. Now, whether or not that takes away from the World Championships, again down the line in the future, that's fine, but World Athletics has to like operate around that. Maybe they'll still be able to operate the meets that do occur, but like I think World Athletics should stay as just the governing body of the sport, and then different leagues should continue to pop up, or continue at some point should pop up.
I think that's been the threat. The threat has been that if you don't get down with what we're on, then we may keep you out of our championships, right?
Yeah.
And I'm saying y'all need to be able to say, so what? Because if y'all do it together, then they're going to just have to cave. It's that simple. But the problem is that they can always find enough of y'all to cave. Yeah. So as a result, everybody else, all right, fine, then I guess I'll just go with the crowd. And then everybody keeps complaining generation to generation. That's why I think we've been kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
The time is now. The time is now. It's next year. The time has always been now. But the thing is, now you've remember, the WNBA was a passion project and a charity case for 20 years. They finally got themselves to a point where they're starting to look like a real league.
Yeah.
Starting. Y'all let everybody get a lead on y'all. That's the problem. Everybody else's sport. And it's going to require, remember, NBA basketball and international basketball ain't the same. It's 5-on-5, but it ain't the same. And as a result, NBA players who play international have to realize, if I spent my whole life trying to get here, I may not be well suited to play international. It's also why some of the international players come over to the NBA and they don't look as good. And then in international play, they be killing it again. And it's like, well, in the NBA, with the way the rules are set up, it's almost like I'm playing with shackles. I'm about to give you this work today. Like, because the rules shifted. So track, that's why I say abolish the clock. What I'm trying to say is pro track will never survive if it resembles the Olympic framework. But it also won't survive if it doesn't resemble track. It has to be both. It can't resemble the Olympic framework, but it also has to be a competitive product. And the reason why teams are unfortunately the best option, because we can go down the UFC route, I've said this, where y'all fight it out. But the problem is that's not what's best for everybody financially, and it's not what's been best for the UFC fighters. And that's why they complain. If you want everybody to get paid, you're going to need a team framework, because when Sha'Carri stops running, how do I keep the fan here? I need to keep him here if she's a part of something that's bigger than her. If Sha'Carri's not running the day, that means Kayla White or whoever else is about to run for her, like for the team, all the Sha'Carri fans have to transfer their fandom to Kayla White now because she's still representing the same entity. Because if Kayla White don't get it right, this team don't advance and we don't get to see Sha'Carri no more. Yeah. So I hope that she get it done so I get another chance to see my favorite athlete. Like, in theory, that's the long range of where it has to go. The only way teams is getting done is you have to follow the grid league model. Start with something small, grab all those unattached athletes or whatever, the ones who really are at that pocket, get all of them involved. But I think the way you do it is you would also need a lot of the pros who are like in their retired state. Your Justin Gatlin's, your Sonya Richards-Ross, all those type of people would need to be ingratiated and a part of that league effort as well to provide legitimacy, even if I don't have Noah yet. Even if I don't have Kenny yet. Because if they're the ones who are the GMs, the presidents, the ones who are like, I would love to see Justin Gatlin in a draft room. I would love to see the clips of him talking about with the group who we want, who's out there, or whatever it is. Like, trash fans, like, we just need something we can get behind. That would grow slowly. It wouldn't be lucrative at first. You could still bring in your lower level athletes. And of course, it is not going to get widespread media attention when you're building it out. But to clarify, the infrastructure has to be there so that what Grid League did is you had CrossFitters who've been at the CrossFit Games and are trying to be in the top 10 in the world. Some of them started coming into the Grid League once it was pre-established, had been running for a while with the lower level athletes, just being honest. And they were like, hey, I'll do a Grid League meet or a competition. Put me on, the Vegas, whatever, the Tampa this or whatever the team is. It's kind of like when like an NBA star goes to the Rucker or to the Drew League. They're not actually on these teams. They just give them a uniform and say, well, KD wants to play. So he's going to play today and somebody's going to not play. Because if he don't want to come out, he ain't coming out. Like, the Grid League would be kind of like that, where the lower levels, it's like, I'm sorry, you're not running today. Yeah. Like, Sydney McLaughlin-Levroni's running. Yeah. She gonna run whatever she want to run. And if she says she's running, then you sit down.
Yeah. So, okay, I have a question. So, you spoke about how the WNBA finally it went from like charity league to like on its way to becoming a viable business league, right? And that was mainly because of Killing Clark. Do you feel like Athlos could be something to follow a similar arc? Meaning that you said that we need our own thing, right? The sport needs its own thing. I feel like a lot of the success, yes, we had Caitlin Clark, who was a generational talent and very exciting. A lot of people were drawn to her and wants to watch her play. I know I was when she was making those long half court threes and stuff at Iowa. I was like, okay, I want to follow this athlete and see how she progresses. We have women who could fit that billing, whether it's Melissa Jefferson Wooden, Gabby Thomas, a Sha'Carri Richardson, a Sydney McLaughlin-Levroni, a Tara Davis Woodall. We put all these women in one league. And then I think what also helped the WNBA was the rise of the women's sports movement. I think that Athlos could ride that wave as well, which is probably why Alexis Ohanian decided to go all women for his league and built it around the top women stars in the sport. On top of that, he's now approaching it with, we're going to go team-based. And so I don't know exactly how it's going to play out, but I know that's where the direction he's going to. And he added in a couple more, or is it 2 meets now?
London and New York, yeah.
London and New York has been announced. I don't know if there's going to be a third one. But it seems like he's progressing that way and slowly building it out. And it might not be there where we need it to be, but it seems like he's progressing at least in the right direction. Do you feel like this could be something that could be similar to the WNBA and eventually add in the male counterparts and stuff like that once it gets big enough and builds enough traction?
Theoretically, yes. Practicality, not even close. And here's why. Because they don't understand how uphill the battle is. Remember, the WNBA was not trying to make friends with FIBA. They were trying to make a viable business. And they convinced all the players, we're the primary. Right. You come here. You play here. When we're done, you can go over there if you want. But when we say come back, you better be here. If Athlos did that with his athlete and said, Sha'Carri now runs in Athlos. You want to watch her? You watch her here.
Yeah.
When our calendar is done, you could call her if she want to come. But I'm gonna tell you one thing: if we decide that she needs to be here, she here. It's
Yeah.
kind of like when you sign a Marvel deal. I heard that the movie actors for Marvel, that when you sign with Disney Marvel, for the time they were doing their thing through phase 1, phase 2,
Mhm.
they had precedence over all movie projects, all film projects you had.
Yeah.
If they call you and say we need to do reshoots, whatever you thought you were doing, drop that thing, get on a plane, you come in here.
Yeah.
Like
That's what it has to be.
it has to be like that.
Yeah.
And you need enough people the only way the pros are gonna ever get anything for themselves in the current model is they would all have to get on board for something like that to be like, from now on, if you wanna watch me run,
Mhm.
you watch me run in this. If you can do something else that is extra, that's extra, but I'm prioritizing this. I'm
Right.
not preparing for the something else.
Yeah.
Grand Slam Track and Athlos both are too busy trying to be friends with the current establishment.
You put Grand Slam track under that
Because
umbrella?
GST, look at where the meets were on the calendar. They said we're going to have 4 big meets around the year and then pack them all into the front half of the year.
Okay.
Like they should have did one meet. I've already said this. Hindsight bias is 2020. They should have did just one meet.
Mhm.
Made it great. And then maybe I still think the GST model could have worked if it was rolled out very differently.
Yeah. But you can't come out
Very
the
different.
gate contentious, like, we're gonna put it
Mhm.
smack dab right before the World Championships. What athletes are gonna buy into that
No, well,
when you haven't
you're
proven
right.
yourself yet?
Well, that's the problem. The problem is exactly that. See, the WNBA, their best thing they had going for them was there was nothing at all viable. They were just waiting for the next Olympic Games. You had college basketball players who were waiting for the next Olympics, and they had all these years in between where they were like,
Mhm.
all right, well, let's do something. The problem is World Athletics started giving y'all breadcrumbs, and y'all thought that that was something to prioritize.
Mhm.
So I can't do any. This was the year. Like 2026 was the year. Then they gave y'all World Ultimate. Like,
Mhm.
like that existed to trick y'all into thinking. Like, I'm sure this is part of the backroom discussion.
Yeah.
But these athletes are starting to want to be pros.
But isn't that how it starts? Where we just continue to put the pressure on it and
Mhm.
give it
But
athletes
World
another
Athletics
option
will never give you what you want. That's the
unless
argument.
they have to.
I don't think
It
they'll ever have to.
Why not? If the Grand Slam track comes back and we have Athos and both of them just continue to grow and add more and more money, let's say they get more and more sponsorship behind them, more and more athlete buy-in, more and more viewership, wouldn't that force World Athletics' hand more and
You're
more?
you're talking about a world. Well, no, and you're talking about a world that doesn't exist. I'm going to tell you why Atlas is not going to succeed unless they do what they need to do, and I'll tell you why GST was never going to do it.
Okay.
You have to understand how media works, and you have to understand how track has struggled. Nobody has created a viable track model. Nobody, because they don't understand how you'd have to edit what the product is to
Mm,
get it to a place where it could be a viable spectator product. GST assumed they had the product that or the package that would work. And there was a huge customer education gap between even the people who came to their meets. And I know because I talked to them. Remember, if you are a former Division One athlete in track and field who comes to a Grand Slam track meeting and pays your hard-earned money, and after the meeting is over, you say, that was great. I got to see Sydney. I got to see Gabby. Why was Sydney running in the 100? And why was Gabby not running the 200? And why were there 2 100s? And why? And this is after you left.
mm,
That's where GST started the negotiations.
okay.
You see, you have to think of it as a business and not just track. Because track and field isn't business. Track and field is charity. If track and field wants to be a business, it needs to act like it.
Mm,
The NBA said, how do we sell tickets? Okay, we have to realize that people don't actually want to watch basketball. They don't even want to watch NBA basketball. They want to watch Michael Jordan. They want to watch LeBron. They don't. Guess what? They don't want to watch the Hawks.
So
The
then
Hawks tried to sell you Trae Young.
why would it matter if they're in the different 200-meter or 100-meter section? They just wanted to see Sydney. She could be
Well,
doing
the
long jump for
problem
all
is
they care.
that product had a limit to it. Right now, the product that is track, if pro track is a thing, if you want to talk about the most professionalized components of it from a media standpoint,
Mm,
again, please, Anderson, chime in, shoot me down if I'm totally wrong on this. What I can tell is that people have specific athletes who somehow break through the zeitgeist of the track and field community with a specific pocket sprinting, specific pocket distance, field, mondo, whoever it is. And once you break through with that pocket, you are the story.
mhm.
The story is you. So Sha'Carri goes to run on grass, it's a story. She's going to go LA Grand Prix, it's a story. Sha'Carri doesn't run LA Grand Prix. Run that same race without Sha'Carri and try making a video about it. Try covering it. The race has no value. So to make pro track a thing, the meet itself, the competition itself still has to have stakes. While we use the stars as the leverage point, we decided to make the stars everything. Usain Bolt was the ultimate meal ticket, and that's why they want Gout Gout to be the next one. Because Usain Bolt allowed you to pretend you didn't have to address any of the infrastructure issues.
Right.
You just say, I got Bolt.
Yeah.
He's coming. And when you say that, and you say he's coming, we can just ignore the fact that there's really nothing professional about this other than the fact that he's here.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, in general, I agree with a lot of it for sure. But I think that's why even if I disagree with some of the things that, or I guess maybe not disagree, but like I'm not as high on the trajectory that Athlos is trending, because they announced the league for this year, but it seems like they're not going to do it. And then also, even if I saw some issues with how Grand Slam track is working, I do think that does 100% put pressure on World Athletics, because just like I said before, there's a reason why World Athletics not only created but then also raised the prize money for the Ultimate Championships and the Diamond League. That's a direct effect of Grand Slam track coming into the fold. Now, it will just take more years of like, obviously Grand Slam track failed, but like it'll take consistency and more years of these things actually working until it gets to a point where it's like, okay, World Athletics can't either afford to pay athletes a certain amount, and or another entity comes in, is like, this is where all the athletes, want to actually compete. Then that, league structure, entity or whatever, they can then start to creep up and say, we were scheduling this from April to June. We're actually going to move this a little bit further because we see that, athletes are doing a little better. Let's do this from June to August. The next couple of years, let's actually do this from, July to September. And now it's like directly competing with World Athletics, but it took all those years because World Athletics was feeling the pressure. In this case that I'm describing, it's like they were losing that game, but like it is a direct, yeah, World Athletics definitely would feel the pressure if all these entities start to come in. But to your point, Rob, where these entities are playing the World Athletics game, right? They're trying to tiptoe around, okay, we'll do it after the season. Okay, we'll do it earlier in the season. Again, necessary for the time being, but like someone has to like have something good and like, okay, let's go, let's try our best to like really, really make something that works.
Yeah.
But I don't know when or if that will actually happen.
I want to believe both will succeed, for the record. Just to put that out there. I'm 100% want these things to thrive. I'm just looking at the holes.
Okay. I think the reason why they're acquiescing to the calendar that the World Athletics put forth is because they're trying to Trojan horse it. Where if they try to come out the gate before they're established, before they've, made their footprint in the sport and directly show themselves as a competitor to the World Championships, they're going to get blown out of the water because all the athletes are going to say, no, we're too entrenched with how we've been in the past. All our contracts are incentivized for us to go to the World Championships. We're not going to show up to your thing. And then it's dead in the water before you even gets a chance to take off. So right now they're playing coy. They're playing nice. They're saying, okay, we'll just put it in this pocket right here at the end of the season. We're not going to bother anybody. But as it continues to build, like I said, I think it's a Trojan horse where then they can say, we're going to move it into the prime of the season because they already have athletes who are signing on. And with Athlos in particular, going with the athlete manager or athlete owner model, whatever it's called, where like they have some type of ownership, whatever. Like, when have you ever seen Sha'Carri promote something as big as she has with Athlos? Like, she went on tour. She's missing practice to go to New York and wherever to go promote this thing with Alexis Ohanian. You got some of the biggest stars promoting it: Tara Davis Woodall, Messiah Russell, Gabby Thomas. Like they're making the rounds promoting this thing. When do you see them ever do that for a World Athletics product? So I feel like as this thing continues to grow, like, yeah, it's not there yet, but I feel like Anderson was saying, the World Athletics Ultimate Challenge thing was a direct response to this because they didn't want, especially in a year where we don't have World Championships or the Olympics, they don't want them to take more market share and continue to grow when they have no challenger from their of their own in the season.
I think there's a fallacy, though, when you talk about challenging World Athletics. Remember, my whole premise is that there is no viable track product. what we're calling the World Championships is a joke if you wanted to look at it as a pro. Assess World Championships, like assess it as a pro sporting entity.
Yeah.
Then, like, look at what it is. And then imagine we're talking about something trying to get to its level. We need something that is we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Not something that rivals it, not something that displaces it. We need something that we've never seen before that people get behind. I don't think you build it from the top. That's the Trojan horse. I don't think you build it with all the big athletes first. You build it and slowly stack it up so we're not hemorrhaging cash and figuring out the model as we go. But whoever's in it needs to be committed. If you're coming here to prepare for something else, you're not going to be what I need. That's the point. I can't have you here to get ready for something else. It just doesn't work. And then we'll slowly shift your attention. I need whoever's here to be focused on this. Like, that's what I need. And I actually pulled up stats. World Championships. I'm going to ask, I'm looking at, because this is your training group. I believe that to some degree, YouTube reflects reality more than it dictates it. Meaning it's a doorway into where actual attention goes. So I looked up Melissa Jefferson Wood's 2 races on NBC Sports, and I have the view counts for both. 930 for her 100. The title is Melissa Jefferson Wooden wins 100 meter with championship record at Track and Field Worlds. Under 1 million views. Then I get Melissa Jefferson Wooden crushes field for historic women's double at Tokyo Worlds. 1.2 million views. That's what it says. And I wanted to check Sha'Carri on the Diamond League. 2 years ago, Sha'Carri edges Sharika Jackson in 100 meter showdown at Diamond League Silesia. 3.6 million views.
Well, the
My
name
point.
Sha'Carri is more popular.
No, but the race was not of any value.
Yeah.
It was Diamond League Silesia. So what I'm saying is, if that's what it is, I might have said it wrong. If that's what it was, then what we just learned is that they don't care about the race.
So then the
They care about
Athlos model
her.
should work if she's the athlete owner and Alexis is approaching it in the way that you're saying, that we don't care about the actual
But
structure.
the problem with that is
protagonist.
but you need the infrastructure first.
Okay.
That's the secret. You need the infrastructure first, then the star power buy-in. Not star power, infrastructure will come later. It collapses. Because the moment Sha'Carri leaves, it dies. I need something that doesn't need you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I need a machine that can make a star. UFC with The Ultimate Fighter. They were able to make a star, build one from the mud, because they had a framework and an infrastructure where we put them in this way and the star comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Track doesn't know how to make one. And here's the real glitch with Sha'Carri. The real glitch with her is she has, this is what I've concluded, a lot of the fans that she has aren't there for the track. They're there for her.
Mm-hmm.
They're more concerned with her being at a Met Gala or whatever else you might do than they are with the actual races, because even then, the views of the races do not correlate to the followers she has in social in general.
So then use someone else. Who else could we use? Like, what are Sydney's numbers like?
I mean, Sydney doesn't translate as far outside of the athletic community as Sha'Carri does for many reasons. So as a result, you're asking what comparing her at Worlds and Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, like, who else could we
her on
build
the
around
circuit
other than just Sha'Carri?
Yeah, but I'm saying you need the infrastructure first, and so I guess I'm not trying to find an athlete to build. We got to figure out what the product is first. Because NBA basketball nailed their product. Their product has, for the longest time now, it's been 60, 70 years or so, that the product has been essentially unchanged. And they actually made some updates to the product in the last 10 to 15 years, specifically because the market was telling them they needed to in order to keep attention from waning too much. But the product had been 82 regular game season, an 82 game regular season, where every game goes into a pot. We have an East and a Western conference. And then with the East and the West, you have your playoffs with 8 teams, and we're going to go, if we used to be, how many games are in the series shifted over time, but you're playing a elimination series of games on the way to getting to a best of 7 NBA finals. That's been the product, more or less, with slight updates from like 1960 something till now. But remember, that's not basketball. The NCAA tournament isn't that. FIBA isn't that. High school basketball doesn't look like that. See how I'm saying? Like basketball, EuroLeague basketball doesn't look like this. Basketball isn't this. They just made a product of how to package it. Then they came up with their own rules and said, you know what? We're going to allow continuation. We're going to put the 3-point line here instead of here. We're going to make the lane look like this instead of like that. We're going to let no hand checking because that we want more scoring. You know what? Let's change. Okay, this used to be a carry, but now it's not because, people like watching what this player is doing and we want more highlights like that. So let's do it. They kept editing the product to the point where they sacrificed the integrity of true basketball in order to create a product. And that's how Brad Beal finally goes over to play international basketball, gets mollywopped, comes back out and is like, yo, I had no idea how physical it really is. Because he just thought, oh, I'm in the NBA, I'm in the best league. Then he goes out there and he's like, oh, they're not playing ball the way we play.
Yeah.
We got to learn to play how they play. Because overseas, they didn't do all that. Their leagues better reflect what international basketball actually is. And they decided we're making a product. Track and field needs to stop trying to be the Olympic product and realize we can create something that's more unique, the event structures, how the athletes compete through these event structures, what the season amounts to. We're no longer running for your season best or your PR or because nobody care about that. Did Sha'Carri win? Did she lose? The fact that people can't process that Christian Coleman is a whole lot faster than Sha'Carri Richardson, like they can't process it, even if you showed them the numbers, tell you they don't like my numbers as much as they do, like as much as we think they do. We think the clock is going to save us. I say you don't have a real product to the clock. It doesn't matter as much. The only thing is, like, I want a pro track league to look like this. I want it to come down to that quote from Dominic Toretto, whoever wrote that for the movie, they did a good job. It don't matter whether you win by an inch or a mile, a win or the win. That's how we know we arrived. If the fans believe that,
yeah,
it don't matter whether you win by an inch or a mile. Because now I could throw anybody up in these races against whoever. And, well, all I know is I saw Noah and I saw Sam Bliskowski. And when the race was over, Sam was across that line. They won't say, well, the time was 10.1.
Yeah.
But in track, that's exactly what they'll say. In the current model. They'll invalidate the whole race.
Yeah.
Because they don't like the clock.
I think the closest we got to that was Grand Slam track.
Yeah.
Because we had the two races and it was the combination of the points that mattered most. But are you advocating for completely getting rid of the clock in order for us to be successful?
Yeah, I wouldn't say the clock can stay as a vestige. It's just that I don't think that there should be as much stock put on it. So GST, how they gave us points. The thing is, I said this for a long time ago. In a real track league, you know how we score points in meets?
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to lead the league in scoring. Right?
Yeah.
That's how
they have with the race of the year thing?
In theory, but at the end of the day, we know that that's not really what happened. Like it was just Kenny not running with fields that could run with him. Like for where he was at that point in the season, he was just not running with real fields. He was just slaughterhousing it. Same thing with Melissa. Like it was just after a while, it became a slaughterhouse because Gabby was too down in the 100 for it to be a real threat.
Yeah.
So as a result, it was kind of like I'm not knocking her accomplishment for what that was. It's just as competitive sport, we knew that because again, the GST meets were going and the Diamond League meeting was going on the same day somewhere else around the world, and we had Quincy Hall sign up for GST and then end up on the Diamond League. Like it was just, at the end of the day, GST was just races, even though the races were trying to be packaged differently. That's what I think. Again, comment section will tell me if I'm wrong. It felt like the track community thought they were just races.
Yeah. I think it'll just take time. Even I agree that okay, there needs to be some structure that's set up that will then allow for the stars to come in, et cetera, et cetera. Like the structure needs to be built up, but it'll just take time because we're still anything is going to come into the existing landscape of times and whatever. Like it has to then take time to adjust. So even with the idea that okay, Grand Slam track, they had that final point system or whatever, right? Like the scoring leader at the end of it. But our minds are still in the track sense of times matter, competition matters, right? Like, okay, Noah isn't here, Sha'Carri isn't running, whatever. So it'll take just a couple years or whatever to build up into, okay, this is the place and this is the structure that actually does work. And it's like, oh yeah, I remember the times and stuff, but like, that's not as important.
Yeah.
As
I
time
had,
kind of does go on.
I mean, me Anderson is we talked about this. Like we talked about it on a finish line. Aaron, I don't know if you actually saw. Like there was a point where, and I've done a few things that when GST was ending, where I finally like unleashed my vision on how I would have fixed GST.
Mm.
Because I was like, the product is deficient. That's why they're not watching. It's not part of it was customer education, but the reason why you're struggling is because the product itself is not good enough.
Okay.
Fix the product. And the number one fix to the product is you needed to, at some point, clarify for the people in the back, we are a pro track league, one. Winning here is separate from winning in the Worlds and the Olympics. It's not the same thing. It's something else. We're for the pros. We're not international. You can go win a medal over there. That's good. This is something else. It's a league. You can be the first GST champion, the second, third, or whatever it is. And I'm not messing with their 2-event model. I eventually said, okay, we can keep that to some degree. But now, if this is what we're doing, you need to create this onboarding ramp where the only way a Noah isn't here is not just because he decided not to come. It needs to feel like when I crown Kenny as the champion, Noah's not the real champion. So you have to find a way to, in other words, if you can't shame him into coming, you have to be able to almost make it seem like he was scared to come. You need court of public opinion to rally around the fact that he wasn't there to be in the sense where Kenny the champion because we ain't see Shane, we ain't see Noah, but they had no excuse to go. The fact that what we were getting, this is how the track community was being told, because Shane was making it seem like it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Noah was making it seem like it didn't matter. So he's diminishing the quality. You need to find a way to restructure to give them no excuse to not be there. So now, if they try to pretend it doesn't matter, the person who's asking the questions will be like, well, they put a qualifier round in for you. They said you could get in if you did this. They said you could do that. I mean, they said that they have, because then the next thing is I would go around saying, this is where the best track athletes are. This is the pro track league. You want to be the best. Now, you see how this is offensive to world athletics, though? I would say your worlds, that's a world medal. We're not taking away from the world medal. We're saying this is something else. And the flip, and I'm not going to use the name, athlete who shall remain nameless, they asked the athlete, it was a woman, about like, okay, how do you feel about this specific race that you just ran in their 2-event model? They're like, oh, well, I didn't really care about this one, for where I am in the season. I'm just, kind of warming and getting some things ready for. In the NBA, you get fined for saying that. Like, you can't say that. Like, that's how you get fined. You criticize the refs in the NBA, you get fined. That's how leagues work. That's how now y'all can have a players association, like where the athletes come to a bargaining table and argue about how much revenue is owed to you. Because now we know who's in the league and who's not. Why is Rob Benjamin not here? Oh, no, he's not in the league. He's not a part of the association. Sorry. If he wants to join, he has to get in. Oh, I'm in now. Now I have a voice. Now I'm a part of the entity. You're never getting that from World Athletics because the thing is the internationalized framework of track. What I had to realize is, again, Canada had a different relationship with track than America does even, and it's still more similar than when you go to smaller countries, whether it's Africa, Europe, Caribbean, whatever. If I'm Jamaica, I'm looking for national heroes. I've concluded Jamaica don't like track. They like beating the world. There's the difference. They don't just want to watch track runners go do races. They want to watch their athletes beat the world. If I can tell you, it says world on it, they got gold medals, they're wearing Jamaica across their chest, and we can beat the world, now we pay attention. Specifically in sprinting.
Yeah.
That's where their fandom is. It doesn't translate to just track. That's how they understand it. So when you try to make a product for them, you have to realize, well, you're now trying to talk them out of and into something else. The American model, that's not how we operate. We could care less about world medals. Just being real. If Melissa Jefferson Wood doesn't get it done in LA 2028, she was a ghost. Just being honest. If for whatever reason she's not there, she's a ghost in the court of sport community.
Yeah, the larger.
But like the sport. And if you pop up again, Sha'Carri can basically just go to Met Galas or whatever if she want to for the next 2 years. If she just pop up for LA 2028, nobody will care. Yeah. As far as they're concerned, she's doing what she's supposed to do.
Yeah, it's the larger thing. I think, yeah, it's in general, it is going to take something. That's why even as well, I guess post Grand Slam track, I have like I have criticisms. But like something needs to come into the framework to be able to disrupt what exists in track and field currently, because clearly the IOC is not going to pay athletes they're not changing nothing. World Athletics is operating in theory as they should, in a sense of like being just a global governing body of track and field around the world. But at least from the US landscape, there does need to be something that would, be able to pay athletes fairly, to, make sure that they have a consistent structure year after year where it's like, okay, I can go to this. Sure, maybe I can go to the world champs. I could also go to the Olympics, but it's not like that's not what my career absolutely depends on, right? I'm not like shifting everything, but it'll take a while though. Like it's never going to be an overnight kind of situation. It'll be some years before we get there.
I don't even know if paying athletes fairly is what I would put as my primary goal. My primary goal would be creating a functional business model. And then from there, the athletes will get paid what they're worth in that functional business model. And we can expand that as the league continues to grow. Fairly is not how hard you work and how good you think you are. Fairly is how much dollars do we make. That's why Diana Taurasi had to play for $100K. That's why. It wasn't about how good she was. It was about what we could justify as a business. And I think that's where the track community is really struggling, because we have too many athletes in this current charity model who are paid to be kind of like set on a pedestal, realizing that to build anything, they'd have to come off that pedestal to elevate that thing.
Right.
So because they don't want to do that, it's like it's a perfect system actually to keep this thing going. As long as I keep the most powerful faces, most powerful names happy enough where they don't want to come off of it, then it is what it is. Because see, when you retire, you'll be ready to, hey, if you call me to be a GM or a president or whatever, you see when you retire. Mm-hmm. But as long as you're in it, it's hard to do anything that upsets the apple cart too much.
Yeah. And people who are not at the tippy top with the biggest contracts have a different incentive structure than the people in the middle of the pack. So we could all get the majority of the sport to come together, but when the majority of the sport isn't making what the top is, it's hard to get them to buy in because they're having to sacrifice a lot more to be on board than the middle and the rest of the pack.
I say one meet at a time. That's the one thing I think that could happen. One meet at a time. That's if we can just pick one meet. And I almost feel like it has to be not a Diamond League meeting. Like it needs to be kind of like a separate entity. It can be a pre-existing meet, but like I don't, as weird as it sounds, almost like an Ed Murphy or something like that. But like it needs to be something that's outside of like kind of like the history of what it was. That's kind of just a meet, and then the athletes say that's the meet. That's the one that we're going to use to be our stage. But then the next thing is you all have to get on board with actually trying to take it seriously and say, okay, we're all going to come. We're all going to go hard. This is not just another Diamond League. It's not just another field with Noah and Oblique. It's something else.
Yeah.
It's the thing that we care about. I've said it, and I kid you not. I want to know how many views we would get if we could get the top short sprinters. I kid you not, like, y'all could just run on the street for all I care. And just be like, it's going down.
Yeah.
On this day, I'm going to show up to this track. And anybody who think they could get this work, send your applications in right now. If it came from the top guys and other top guys agreed, it's a thing now.
What if we got like iShow Speed and said, let's make the iShow Speed games? And
I mean,
$100K for each event or something like that.
I mean, that's clicks and views now, but that's not sport infrastructure. And even then, like when I'm throwing these random ideas of like just run anywhere, that's just to show the force of what you all are capable of when you all get together and take it seriously. The only thing I know on the calendar that everybody's going to take seriously is 2027 Worlds, I think. That's the only thing I know. I don't even know if World Ultimate is technically that day when I say everyone.
Yeah, I wonder why they don't ask athletes if they're going to the World Ultimate.
Nobody knows what it is.
Well, like, even, like, after a Diamond League or something, like, what are your plans for the season? Like, are you planning to go to this World Ultimate
It
thing?
has no history. It means nothing in the zeitgeist. In the track and field world, it means nothing.
But
I
they're not
think,
even
yeah,
trying to build it up.
they're not even, yeah, because even what I've seen, at least only from press conferences and stuff, and like I haven't been to anything this year, but like just hearing from so far, like some athletes are like, oh, okay, yeah, it's an off season. Some athletes are like, no, like this is a serious year. I want to go to it. So it's like so mixed, and I think because of there isn't any connected history to it. Like it is like this new thing, but they like everyone still thinks of okay, the World Championships and the Olympics. Yeah, Ultimate Championships. If I make it there, I'll probably go. But like, I think it'll if it continues, I have no idea like what the long term plan for it is. But like, if it
Uh,
continues, then it'll become more of a prestigious thing. I think one day may not be. I mean, just being honest, right? One
it ain't gonna
day,
be today. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, well, it won't be soon. It'll take like a lot of work, and it'll take like a really, concerted effort from like everyone from the ground up at all levels. Whether that's athletes, agents, coaches, media, like it's gonna take everyone to actually
Yeah,
push the sport into a direction where it's like, okay, this is gonna be something different
yeah,
than what exists as it is. It won't be easy, but you know,
yeah.
I think it'll just take that work.
The NCAA championships, the kids decided that they wanted to go stupid all on the same weekend. That's the only way that I have to say it. I'm just gonna have the real conversation. We had, I think, the 100-meter 972. But I look back, I see 982, 987. It was 2.2, so people kind of just threw it out. The moment you hit 2.0, they just throw it out. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a
Yeah.
large part of the discussion.
Mhm.
And then you have a world record in the 110 hurdles, which nobody really cares about the hurdles. But if they were ever going to care, they're supposed to care now. And then the 200, Jaden Reed goes 19.63. And if you were asking me who was going to run that fast in the NCAA this year, it sure enough wouldn't have been him. Not because he wasn't really, really good. He's been good. It's just I don't ever remember thinking of him as an actual national champion. Like I'm gonna get gold
Yeah.
because I'll be checking the SEC, and I never remember checking him. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did he win SECs?
No, Jelani Watkins.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like my point. Like indoors or outdoors, has he ever actually won? So the thing, because it's almost like okay, Jarian Lawson.
Yeah.
Like when he won NCAA's, that man had never won a 100-meter race till he won the NCAA final. I checked. I looked at his whole report. He had never been in a race that was a 100 where he actually crossed the line in front till then.
Crazy.
Or if so, it might have been like a prelim, but not like a final. Like his whole career, like I'm talking like regular meets that Arkansas would go to. He couldn't win those meets.
Hmm.
So, okay, yeah, the kids went stupid. What are we going to do about this? I mean, I'm not calling the time fake. I'm saying something's fishy over in Eugene right now because we ain't up there.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed to me like y'all should have flew up there this weekend.
I'll say at least that I think Eugene as an individual track, it's known to be an insanely fast track, like an exceptionally fast track. Even well, just taking like let's say the current Eugene, right? 2021 and present, you have Elaine Thompson Hira. She ran 10.54 there. You have, in 2022 at the World Champs, you had Sharika running 21.4, Noah running, 19.3. You had Gabby, she's run 21.6 there. You have even like Shakari, I think outside of her 10.65, her next best times are 10.71, I think twice, and both of them were in Eugene. And so this is, I
Toby too.
think,
The world record.
that's true. Exactly. Yeah, that's true. The
Yeah.
world, exactly. So I think Eugene is undoubtedly a very, very fast track. And then you factor in aspects of, let's just call it perfect conditions, right? Wind is like really, really good. I think, in the 200, they had like a plus 1.5 or something like that. Like we just said in the
For the
100, it
women, right?
was,
Or for
I
the
think for the
jaws run.
men, well, I
The
think for
men
the
was
men,
2.2 in the final.
no, the 200, the men's
Oh, yeah,
200, the
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
legal
I think it
19.6.
was
Yeah.
1.5 or 1.6, something like that.
Yeah. But then even also on the women, it was that 1.9. So essentially just like perfect conditions and all that. And then this is a championship meet, right? Like these NCAA athletes were focused their entire year. This essentially is their world championships. So I think all those factors lead into a meet like this having an insane amount of high quality performances. Now, obviously, this is like pushing the bounds of like, race after race after race.
Yeah.
But to me, I can understand why we would see so many high quality performances from a bunch of these athletes. I understand why people may be skeptical, but I also can understand this is like the peak of their seasons and everything went well.
Yeah. No,
So,
I echo the same sentiments, and it's like we know that Hayward Magic is a thing. Like that's it's been there for forever. We've always heard that term, Hayward Magic, and no one can really quantify why that is. Whether it's the atmosphere, the air in Oregon, I think the tailwinds are just always good in the stadium. And then, like you said, it's championship environments. Like usually when we run at Eugene, it's either going to be Prefontaine or trials for USA's or NCAA's or maybe Pac-12s or something. Well, back in the day,
Big
at
Ten
least.
now, yeah.
Big Ten, yeah. And I don't know, man. I think it has to do something with the resources, to be honest. Because like, if you look at how much money is being put into the college level on top of the resources that they already had, that comes from like football and basketball, like the NIL stuff. A lot of people are signing deals early on, and I feel like the facilities that they're training on are better. I just saw Georgia had a brand new stadium, and I think Texas A&M has a new stadium, the one that I just ran at. All these places are getting new facilities. They're putting more money, better infrastructure, and then the athletes themselves are being better supported with the NIL and stuff like that. So they're in college with deals now, right? And there's just
The top
more
athletes.
the top athletes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I
For the
mean, these are
people,
the ones we're talking
yeah,
about,
yeah,
anyways.
yeah. For the people in the
Yeah,
back,
yeah,
the people
yeah,
who
yeah.
are your level, not the people like me and Anderson who like we ain't
Right,
qualified through to those meets you was
right,
in.
right, right. Well, I mean, the ones who are breaking the records are the ones they're all being supported at this like elevated level from at least when we used to run in college. And I think that plays a factor, like you're basically what's the difference between them right now and a professional, other than they're not eligible anymore by age, like you age out of being able to run in college. I mean, essentially, you're able to make money. You have the best facilities. You have the best coaches, right? Like they're on par with some of the best coaches on the pro level, I would say. And then you don't have to worry about your expenses. Everything's paid for by the university. Like it's almost like it's a step down going pro, depending on where you go.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like
yeah, yeah. You're right.
so I mean, did I expect performances of this magnitude? No, it is a bit shocking, like especially this many and this many events. But like, if you take it down maybe one level, and you say instead of 1072 we see 10, or sorry, 972 we see 980, and it's win legal, and instead of 1275 we see 1288. Those are historic times still. Those are collegiate records, but they're not like mind blowing like all time runs like 1063.
But
I think it makes a little bit more sense.
think about this though. We saw the collegiate record go down in the men's 4x1 in the prelim.
True, true.
You see, I'm sorry. Like, this is the problem for me. I'm struggling with how y'all breaking records in prelims like
Yeah,
it's nothing.
yeah, yeah.
Because it happened 3 times.
You're right.
A world record and 2 collegiate records. I'm sorry. This year, I'm at a point where when I talk to, and I don't know how you feel about this, because I think obviously the numbers diminish when you get to the top of the curve. But if you're talking about middle standard deviation, which is 100% where I was and where most D1 sprinters are, everybody's faster now. And I checked from all the divisions, D3, D2, D1, everybody got faster. And you want to
Yeah.
know, guess how much faster the 100 got from estimated 2012 till now?
Mm,
Like
like
the middle of the
average
pack.
time, middle of the pack,
Like how many temps did they drop?
0.15.
About point two.
Wow.
To the point where when I'm talking to somebody who ran in the pre-super spike era, especially if you finished before 2015, just subtract point two from all your times. That's what I tell them.
Wow.
And then when you see these kids, if you do that, when you look at the math, it now puts in perspective what you do, what compared to them. Because if we brought you out the vault and asked you to run with them, with everything they got now, you would just be faster. So the kids who ran 10.6 in 2012, they're 10.4 guys today. That's just what they are.
Yeah.
In the 200, I did the math. It's point 0.4. Same thing. It stayed consistent. So if you're a 20.9 guy in 2012, today you're a 20.1 guy.
Mm,
20.2 guy now,
mm.
roughly. And it was at D3, D2, and D1. It held. And
Wow.
it held because I was looking at what was considered the top 100 in each division, and it
Mhm.
stayed consistent across each division when I went all the way back and then went all the way forward. So I
Mm.
was like, trackflation is a real thing.
Yeah.
So at some point,
Yeah.
like now, at some point, the bubble's gonna pop,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this has to be when it pops. I'm sorry.
But popping, what? How does that manifest? What happens?
Like at some point, people aren't just gonna keep doing this.
Okay.
Like it's the
So
same thing we
just
saw with the women's hundred. Like the record's been up there for how long? Like we had to get used to watching people run slower.
yeah.
Same thing in the men's hundred. We've had to get used to watching people not run 9.6.
Hmm.
Like there's a time when the bubble pops.
Hmm.
But I think this is different than just one athlete off the grid. We're seeing the whole grid pick up and move.
Yeah.
Well, I think I agree that maybe there'll be a bubble pop where we just won't consistently see this progress year after year. There'll probably be a flattening out at a point, and maybe years down the line we'll see another kind of like big jump. But again, I don't know. I look at this like, so 2018 NCAA Indoor Championships. That championships was basically what we just saw here. You had Michael Norman, he broke a world record. Kendall
In,
Ellis
you mean
broke an
indoors?
indoors. This is
Oh,
indoor
okay.
championships, and I'm just saying in terms of like college, right?
Yeah.
Michael Norman broke a world record. Kendall Ellis broke an American record. Sidney McLaughlin Lavroni broke American record and world junior record. You had what you call it? Tara Davis Woodhull broke a world junior record. Like there were Gabby Thomas broke the NCAA record. Like there was and Elijah Hall, he broke the NCAA record. Like I'm I think we'll see things like this every so often that will just pop up and be like, whoa, like this was an amazing, championships that we can't explain for whatever reason. But I think all those other factors, again, just like amazing track, amazing conditions, championship setting, et cetera, that will lend itself to these athletes, performing. And I also think like high quality performances almost lead to other high quality performances. Like the athletes are feeding off the energy. Oh wow,
Yeah.
like Jacoby Dart just broke a world record. I got to go out there in the 100 and I got to do my thing to show up, right? Like back and forth in a sense. So I don't know. I'm just very hesitant on like questioning any type of performances without true like evidence because it's easy to like question something just to like confirm the bias or the idea that you had in your mind beforehand, like, oh, nah, like someone can't run that fast
Yeah.
until they actually do it, and you're like, no, no, no,
Yeah.
I'm
But to
not going to believe it.
clarify, it's kind of like the conversation when you say questioning, just I'm not, you let me know if this is what you mean by that. Because I mean, even offline, Aaron, you asked me like, okay, how do you determine if a time is fake? I'm like, I'm not calling the times fake. I'm saying the times are misleading, not the same argument.
Mm.
Well,
So I'm not questioning the
what's
times as in
misleading?
that they
Like,
Yeah.
happened.
I
It,
think Twitter has been the prevailing opinion is that a lot of these times are fake. A lot of people aren't buying it.
Yeah, I don't mean fake is because see, I believe the clock is real, and I believe wind gauges are real. I believe
Hmm.
that both of those things can be misleading if you trust them too much.
well, what's
Remember,
misleading then? That's why I guess I'm maybe.
okay, so let's talk about misleading in a few different ways. Now, there's a bunch of things actually that come up with why it would be misleading. If we want to be hyper conspiracy theory, let's go there. If you're AP Ranch, where they have all these crazy fast times running down with the high school kids, do you think it's possible that if you measured that track out, it's not 100%, 100 meters exactly on the straightaway, for example? Is it possible? It's possible. Just
This,
asking.
this is a possibility, but
It's possible. This is
don't
just for the
they?
purposes of argument, because I'm
Yeah.
speculating across the board. The
Yeah.
next thing, is it possible that when you put the camera, because the timing system comes in and sets up, these aren't cameras that are just sitting there. They actually have companies that have to come in and do it. Do you think it's
Hmm.
possible that they had the sensor just hitting not exactly the perfect right spot? That's possible. All of these things are, but I'm saying when you have meets going all around the country, we're just talking
Yeah.
about America right now.
Uh-huh.
All these high schools, all these colleges, all these pro meets, you think every single one is done exactly to the letter? Because if you're not running fast enough, no one's going to catch it. Let's be real. If you're running 10.4s and 10.5s and 10.6s, nobody's checking. They only check when you get all the way to the edge of the grid. Fair?
Well,
So what I'm saying, it
yeah.
can be, I'm not throwing the times out.
Okay.
I'm saying they're misleading in the sense where until I see you run with the guys
Hmm.
and do it under those conditions, because there are certain meets that we know are all supposed to be, standard and legitimate. Now we're talking about the NCAA's championship, which is supposed to be standard and legitimate.
Right.
It
I
is.
would put that under
So
that
now
umbrella.
that's where this conversation, now this is the place for us to take it. You just brought up that indoor meet, right? You brought up, I'm gonna give the names. If I remember offhand, you said Michael Norman, Sidney McLaughlin Levrone, Gabby Thomas, you said Kendall Ellis, I believe.
Yeah, Kendall is.
And who
Yep.
was the other name you gave?
Elijah Hall.
Okay.
Elijah Hall. Yep.
So of that lineup, is it fair to say that three of those names are world beaters because they
Yes.
have gold medals?
Yes.
Yeah, all of them except for well,
Elijah.
okay, Kendall Ellis and I guess
Yeah, she's an
Elijah.
American
Yeah.
champion, but I mean, like she again, like because Bryce Deadman is an American champion, he has relay medals, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
So like three of those five are world beaters. So here's the question: let's look at the field that we just got. Do we have three world beaters that you can name across all these records? Like three that you say these
Well,
ones are on the path to be world beaters. Is
From
Deja
the
Hodge potentially a world beater?
I would say
yes.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Because see, this
Jacoby
starts to
Tharp for sure.
okay.
Jacoby,
Jacoby Tharp potentially a world beater.
Yeah.
Jaden Reed, is he potentially a world beater?
Ah, I gotta see him do it again, but if that was a flash of what he can do, then it's possible.
I mean, I'm gonna look at his report. So Jaden Reed at the East first round ran
I
20.0.
would put Ogazi as a world
I'd
beater.
I'd put Ogazi and Ajayi as world beaters.
Oh
If
yeah, yeah,
if yeah, if like
Ogazi is okay. That's he's a world beater potentially.
yeah.
yeah, like okay, let's say Jaden Reed, if I'd say maybe he's the exception. But I think Ogazi made the Olympic final in 2024.
Yeah.
Ajayi made the World Championship final in 2025, and both of them have actually gotten better and progressed even more since then. So, like, and Jacoby Tharp, he made the World
Yeah.
Championship final last year, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think
So
some of these,
that's a pretty high hit rate. Like, let's just pretend that Jaden Reed is the one outlier. That's a pretty high rate of success in terms of being world beaters.
yeah,
Yeah. So I'm
that's
looking at Jaden Reed's report now. He did go third in the SEC 200 outdoors last year. He was fifth this year outdoors. And so third and fifth. That's what we saw in his
yeah,
SEC career. And then he was fifth indoors in 2025 at the NCAAs. So he's been hovering.
Hmm.
He's been
yeah,
hovering in that spot. He never finished higher than third at SECs, though, like even going into now.
But prior to this meet, I would have had Jelani Watkins as a potential superstar in the making, just based on how he ran at SECs and how he's been progressing, how he ran indoors, and Jaden Reed beat him. So that puts him in pretty good company.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something wildly offensive, and I don't know if Jelani Watson's gonna hear me when I say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Jelani Watkins is an incredibly talented sprinter. I think everybody in the sprinting community who paid attention should know this. I think he's so good that the world can get a little skewed because his track and field exploits outpace his football exploits. I think that's fair to say because he hasn't gotten on the field much. But I'm still gonna say the offensive part out loud. As a football recruit, I think he just went to the wrong schools.
Mm,
If he were playing in the FCS, he'd be tearing it up on go routes and so on just because they couldn't run with him. And then
mhm,
by that point, that would make him an NFL prospect. So no disrespect, but we know that track doesn't have the same ceiling that
mhm,
football does. I hope for my own purposes, maybe he's listening, maybe he's not. I would love for him to just get out the SEC.
mm,
Just get out of the SEC. Perhaps even just stay in the FBS and just go to the group of five. But if he could take it behind down to FCS for a while and play some football, he would tear them up. Like
mm.
tear them up. He'd still be a track athlete because track's not going anywhere. I'm just being honest. Is that fair? Like they know what he can do. It's
Yeah.
not going anywhere. But the infrastructure and because come on, everybody can't make Team USA. Jelani Watkins, Jordan Anthony, Noah don't plan on going nowhere. Kenny B's not trying to leave. Christian Coleman trying to have a resurgence. Trayvon Burmel ain't giving up soon. Like Christian Miller still think that he gonna do something after his high school runs. Tate
Mm,
Taylor think he about to be on one.
mhm.
Like there's too many people for you to actually have success with the lack of infrastructure. He don't even got to be that good in football because I've seen people in football who don't have how to put it like with his level of speed, which is obviously like no one on the field is touching that.
Yeah.
If you compare that to, I'm thinking of the name, it was with the guy who's on Last Chance U. He was like a track athlete at Florida State, also played football, and then kind of bounced around with a whole bunch of transfers after that, with that Auburn, I think with that FAU, John Franklin III. John Franklin
Mm.
III was on Sunday rosters in the NFL,
Mm.
even though he barely played in any real capacity through his entire FBS career. Just being honest. And he was not as fast as Jelani Watkins.
So you don't think Jelani Watkins could have the potential to climb up? Isn't he only like a sophomore?
I mean,
Yeah.
look, I'm gonna tell you what the
Like
NFL minimum salary is.
to me, he was on the Jordan Anthony arc.
NFL, the minimum salary for a rookie is almost about anywhere between like 885K to 1.3 mil. That's to
Mm.
be on a roster.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard it is to make that money in track? You know.
Yes. Yeah. Of course.
So you see what I'm like, Like, so
Yeah.
my point is that's the minimum to just be on the team and barely play.
Yeah.
He
But
don't
then
even
does
gotta play
he?
but 4 games.
But does he?
Well,
I guess it comes down to, does he want to do that?
yeah.
Like, yeah, I
He can
obviously
run
the
track when it's
money.
done, just like Tyreek Hill.
That's true, but I guess it's
At,
like,
at 24, he can walk off an NFL field and go back to. I'm not talking crazy, but couldn't he just do that? Try
I mean,
it.
I
If
guess
it
so,
don't work,
but
just go run track after.
there's
Y'all
the
still
very
gonna be
real
running.
possibility of injury, which is what happened to Devin
mm,
Allen. He's never been able to come back after he made his little stint.
Yeah, I mean, but he had a whole track. He's a little different because he had a whole track career. Then
Mm.
tried to. I'm talking about being a
Out the
football
gate.
player coming to track, not the same
Okay.
thing.
Well, I don't know about his football prowess. I haven't looked at his numbers or seen his stats or anything, but just as far as a prospect in track, I feel like next year, I know he did some bonehead things this year and didn't shine the way he should, but I was looking for him to be a potential like Andre DeGrasse 20, what was that, 2019 or no, 2015?
2015. Yeah,
15, yeah.
Yeah,
15.
I thought he was going to be that at NCAA's, but that
Yeah.
could be next year. Who knows?
some people would say that you shoot your bullets too early. Like maybe what SEC's was probably should have been NCAA's. But like I said, he's still a part-time track athlete in the grand scheme of his life. Like
Yeah.
he was, remember, this man showed up to art. I'm just going to say again, I'm saying all the offensive parts out loud. Ain't nothing that the Arkansas coaches did to make him this fast in the grand scheme of training, considering he was on a football field and a different campus till the indoor season. That means that they essentially rolled him out there to start running when indoor happened. So all the success he had indoors, he had no training cycles at all
Hmm.
for track and field or even on their campus before he starts running. That's how good he is essentially by himself.
Yeah,
Because I'm
he ran
sure the LSU coaches was not working with the Arkansas coaches to hand him off.
yeah. He ran 6'4", didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In
He
like
did.
20 or 20.1?
He ran
He broke
20.1.
19. He ran 19.9 outdoors.
Well, outdoors, yeah, he ran
No,
99.
no,
Indoors,
indoors.
indoors, he ran 20.1, I think.
One.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's
He's got talent. Like, he's very, very talented. And I guess, like, I guess for Jelani or any athlete where they have that talent, it's like, okay, maybe they just wanted to make the choice, and the football just isn't as entertaining of like what they want to do. Obviously, you can make a ton of money, but then I guess it's up to the individual. Like, okay, you can make the money or you can do what you love to do. Now, obviously, there's I guess like flipping the coin on if you will actually gain success in track, and it's not going to be as lucrative, but you know, I don't know. It's going to be a balance for every athlete. But Jelani, yeah, he's a sophomore, so he still has many many years versus like some of the top athletes that we're talking about with Ajayi, with Ogazi, with
but Ajayi still has a year of eligibility after this. Am I
yeah,
right?
but he also is probably gonna, yeah, he has a year. Ogazi has a year. But they're probably, and I think even Jacoby Tharp is like, I'm probably gone. They have some options because they're now at the top of the top. And again, I guess just like circling back to that idea that these athletes that we saw, they to me have like proven themselves even before
Okay.
what we saw this weekend. Yeah, I think like I think everyone's gonna have different questions, but
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
like
keep in mind,
yeah,
Jonathan Sims and CD Jive were right behind him, but they still ran very fast times,
yeah, they
and
did.
they were
They
second and
did.
third. And I mean, both of them. I mean, granted, I like when people. This is just me being selfish. When my recruiting board, the people who I said were the best, when they go out and run like the best, because I had CD Jai as a top 4 recruit in the entire nation. I think I had the number 2 coming into his senior year of high school for his class,
Mm.
and that's across all the events.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like he actually underachieved his senior year in high school, which is why he fell down the board. Because like we gotta rate what's actually happening out here. It's just, I mean, okay, so because that's all. Because the conversation just kind of closes on like, were we watching World Beaters? And I think the Kobe Tharp, yes, you got it. It's just at the same time, I'm thinking that okay, let me ask a different question. Do you think that okay, him specifically, since it's a world record, do you think he's going to run that fast ever again? And I know that feels like, of course he will, but no, actually, there's a lot of people who run world records and never run PRs after that.
That's a good question. Uh, I think he could because I don't think that was a perfect race. It was pretty close to it. Um, but yeah, that's that. 1275 is just
It's crazy.
it's crazy. He could come close, but like if we, I mean, I don't pay that much attention to the 110 hurdles, but I keep an eye on it. And I noticed that like when Devin Allen ran, what was it, 1284,
Hmm.
he didn't really come close to that again. Grant Holloway, I think he went 1281.
Yep.
Hmm.
I don't know what his next best time is, but I want to say it's 12.9. I don't know if he
It's
ran 12.8
12. So he
again.
ran 1288. I don't know
88.
if
Yeah.
he,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, Aries Merritt went 1280. What was his next best time?
Might have been 1290
Right.
something.
So that kind of
Yeah.
seems like the trend is like they have a super just perfect, not
Yeah.
perfect, but like almost perfect outlier race, and then their median falls within like a tenth off. So if he regresses back to like 12.8 on an average, that's still, I mean, all time, you know? So I don't even know if he has to get back to 12.7. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, what do you think?
I think it doesn't matter because I think to the point, no, I mean, honestly, I think to this exact point, right? Like it's a world record for a reason. Like that's the fastest that any athlete has ever run. Now, if he gets consistent behind that, that's what matters to me more, right?
yeah,
Like if he's running either 12.8s or 12.9s consistently. That's why for me, you know, just using Gout Gout as an example, he ran this 19.6. If he runs consistent 19.9s
Yeah.
or 19.8s, that's going to then prove, okay, you are a
yeah,
consistent athlete in that realm. I don't need you to run another world record to prove that you are an amazing athlete. I didn't need Usain Bolt.
yeah,
He never ran faster after 2009, but
yeah,
he proved consistently he can run 9.7s on command, right? Noah Lyles hasn't run faster than 19.3, but he proves consistently that he can run, fast on command. Like that to me is more important than did you beat this time,
yeah.
So
I agree.
it doesn't
Yeah.
to me it doesn't matter that much if any
Yeah.
of these athletes run faster than what they
Okay.
did.
Yeah. I mean, because the
There's
hurdle.
only
Yeah.
so many Sidney McLaughlin Lebronis, right?
Yeah,
That
exactly.
could
Yeah.
that could just
Yeah.
world record, world record, world record.
Yeah. But all. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and again, her event. I mean, I feel like she broke the event because she brought a level of like baseline of talent that had never
Yeah.
showed up to that event. I'm still convinced that if she set her mind to it, she'd not only be in the World Championship 200-meter final, but I'm pretty sure any season she wanted to, she'd have a medal in that event.
Yeah,
Because when
100%.
the dust settles, she'll just be one of the people on the podium. She might not get gold,
Hmm.
she might get silver or bronze, but like I just have a hard time believing she's not winning something because she's just too
Yeah.
talented. So
Yeah.
I know we'll probably never get to see it. If so, it'll be like if she decides to run 2029 just for kicks. Do it for me, Sydney. I know. You're not. I know. I just want to see it. I just want to see it.
Mm.
But hey, I mean, with the college kids, I mean, the Jaden Reed thing to me, like him going with that, because again, we've seen a lot of fast 200 runners come through the NCAA, and
Yeah.
now this is the last place I have to go. 1963 from him, like I said, there's a degree of trackflation that's been hitting this generation. So I kind of see things interestingly. But even beyond that, look at that pure athletic sprint group, and I'm not trying to single them out. I'm saying Eudodio Witheriki, we saw him run fast in college.
Yeah.
Like he went, what, did he go 19.7?
Yep.
Yeah.
73.
I
Yeah,
think
like
so.
at
Yeah. Something
NCAA
like that.
championship weekend, he
Yeah.
goes that fast. And then you had Chegan Traore, who also was an NCAA 200-meter champion, and
Hmm.
he was like a 19.9 or whatever when he won it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But he was
Yeah.
right, he was second indoors.
Hmm.
Because I think he won his like slower heat of the NCAA indoor final for like had his two ones, like two runs, and then he ended up like second overall when it was done.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm saying like these are guys who actually didn't touch those times really.
Yeah.
Like not those times since they've been slowly working around, but like what we saw there versus what we saw after. And that's kind of that's why I don't immediately cross over to say they're world beaters. Sam Ogazi and Ajayi, because they were at international championships and like showing us stuff already, they're almost, as you said, what's the difference between them and a pro? Well, the difference is just labeling, to be quite frank.
Yeah.
There's no actual difference between them.
My name is Anderson from The Final Leg.
And I'm Coach Rob from SCA Track and Field. And thank you for watching this segment from The Finish Line.
If you want to know what's really going on at the high school and college level, be sure to subscribe to Coach Rob Track and Field.
And if you want more content on the best track and field athletes in the world, be sure to subscribe to The Final Leg.